Hello, good afternoon. Back again with me, Sandiana Firabangun. In this video, I will explain about supervised and unsupervised learning. First, I will tell you about supervised learning. What is supervised learning? Supervised learning, as the name indicates, has the presence of a supervisor as a teacher. Basically, supervised learning is when we teach or train the machine using data that is well labeled, which means some data is already tagged with the correct answer. After that, the machine is provided with a new set of examples so that the supervised learning algorithm analyzes training data and products a correct outcome from labeled data. Illustration of supervised learning. For instance, suppose you are given a basket filled with different kinds of fruits. Now, the first step is to train the machine with all the different fruits one by one like this. If the shape of the object is rounded and has a depression at the top, is red in color, then it will be labeled as apple. If the shape of the object is a long curving cylinder having green-yellow color, then it will be labeled as banana. Now, suppose after training the data, you have given a new separate fruit, say banana from the basket, and asked to identify it. Since the machine has already learned the things from previous data and this time has to use it wisely, it will first specify the fruit with its shape and color and would confirm the fruit name as banana and put it in the banana category. Thus, the machine learns the things from training data and then applies the knowledge to test data. Types of supervised machine learning. 1. Classification. Classification means to group the output inside a class. If the algorithm tries to label input into two distinct classes, it is called binary classification. Selecting between more than two classes is referred to as multi-class classification. Example, determining whether or not someone will be a defaulter of the loan. 2. Regression. Regression technique predicts a single output value using training data. Example, you can use regression to predict the house price from training data. The input variables will be locality, size of house. Supervised learning algorithms. 1. Neural networks, primarily leveraged for deep learning algorithms. Neural network process training data by mimicking the interconnectivity of the human brain through layers of nodes. Neural networks learn this mapping function through supervised learning, adjusting based on the loss function through the process of gradient descent. When the const function is at or near zero, we can be confident in the model's accuracy to yield the correct answer. 2. Naive-Bayes. Naive-Bayes is classification approach that adopts the principle of class conditional independence from the Bayes theorem. This means that the presence of one feature does not impact the presence of another in the probability of a given outcome, and its predictor has an equal effect on that result. 3. Linear regression. Linear regression is used to identify the relationship between a dependent variable and one or more independent variables and is typically leveraged to make prediction about future outcomes. When there is only one independent variable and one dependent variable, it is known as simple linear regression. 4. Logistic regression. While linear regression is leveraged when dependent variables are continuous, logistic regression is select when the dependent variable is categorical, meaning they have binary output, such as true and false or yes and no. While both regression models seek to understand the relationship between data inputs, logistic regression is mainly used to solve binary classification problems such as spam identification. 5. Random forest. Random forest is another flexible supervised machine learning algorithm used for both classification and regression purposes. The forest reference a collection of uncorrelated dissection trees, which are then merged together to reduce variance and create more accurate the prediction. Advantages and disadvantages of supervised learning. Advantages 1. Supervised learning allows collecting data and products data output from previous experience. 2. Helps to optimize performance criteria with the help of experience. 3. Supervised machine learning helps to solve various types of real-world computation problems. 4. It performs classification and regression tasks. 5. It allows estimating or mapping the result to a new sample. 6. We have complete control over choosing the number of classes we want in the training data. Disadvantages 1. Classifying big data can be challenging. 2. Training for supervised learning needs a lot of computing time, so it requires a lot of time. 3. Supervised learning cannot handle all complex tasks in machine learning. 4. Computation time is fast for supervised learning. 5. It requires a labeled dataset. 6. It requires a training process. Second, I will tell you about unsupervised learning. What is unsupervised learning? Unsupervised learning is the training of a machine using information that is neither classified nor labeled and allowing the algorithm to act on that information without guidance. Here, the task of the machine is to group unstored information according to similarities, patterns, and differences without any prior training of data. Unlike supervised learning, no teacher is provided, that means no training will be given to the machine. Therefore, the machine is restricted to find the hidden structure in unlabeled data by itself. Illustration. Thus, the machine has no idea about the future of dogs and cats, so it can categorize it as dogs and cats. But it can categorize them according to their similarities, patterns, and differences. We can easily categorize the above picture into two parts. The first may contain all pigs having dogs in them, and second part may contain all pigs having cats in them. Here you didn't learn anything before, which means no training data or example. It allows the model to work on its own to discover patterns and information that was previously undetected. It mainly deals with unlabeled data. Types of unsupervised machine learning. 1. Clustering. Clustering is an important concept when it comes to unsupervised learning. It mainly deals with finding a structure or pattern in a collection of uncategorized data. Clustering algorithms will process your data and find natural clusters if they exist in data. You can also modify how many clusters your algorithm should identify. It allows you to adjust the granularity of these groups. 2. Association. Association proofs allow you to establish association amongst the data object inside large databases. This, unsu- this unsupervised technique is about discovering exciting relationships between variables in large databases. For example, people that buy a new home most likely to buy furniture. Why unsupervised learning? 1. Unsupervised machine learning finds all kinds of unknown patterns in data. 2. Unsupervised methods help you to find features which can be useful for categorization. 3. It is taken place in the real time, so all the input data to be analyzed and labeled in the presence of learners. 4. It is easier to get unlabeled data from a computer than labeled data, which needs manual intervention. Application of unsupervised learning. 1. News section. Google News uses unsupervised learning to categorize articles on the same story from various online news outlets. For example, the result of presidential election could be categorized under their label or as news. 2. Computer vision. Unsupervised learning algorithms are used for visual perception tasks, such as object recognition. 3. Medical imaging. Unsupervised machine learning provide essential features to medical image device, such as image detection, classification, and segmentation, used in radiology and pathology to diagnose patient quickly and accurately. 4. Anomaly detection. Unsupervised learning models can come through large amounts of data and discover atypical data points within a dataset. These anomalies can raise awareness around faulty equipment, human error, or breaches in security. Advantages and disadvantages of unsupervised learning. Advantages 1. It does not require training data to be labeled. 2. Capable of finding previously unknown patterns in data. 3. Unsupervised learning is flexible in that it can be applied to a wide variety of problems, including clustering, anomaly detection, and associating rural meaning. 4. Unsupervised learning allows for the exploration of data and the discovery of novel and potentially useful patterns that may not be apparent for the outset. 5. Unsupervised learning is often less expensive than supervised learning because it doesn't require labeled data, which can be time-consuming and costly to obtain. Disadvantages 1. Difficult to measure accuracy or effectiveness due to lack of predefined answer during training. 2. The result often have lesser accuracy. 3. The user needs to spend time interpreting and label the classes which follow that classification. 4. Sensitivity to data quality and supervised learning can be sensitive to data quality, including missing values, outliers, and noisy data. 5. Unsupervised learning can be computationally expensive, particularly for a large dataset or complex algorithms, which can limit its scalability. What is different supervised and unsupervised learning? Supervised 1. Algorithms are trained use labeled data. 2. Simple method. 3. Highly accurate. 4. Use training data to infer model. 5. It is not possible to learn large and more complex model than with supervised learning. 6. We can test our model. 7. The goal of supervised learning is to train the models so that it can predict the output when it is given new data. 8. Supervised learning needs supervision to train the model. 9. It's supervised learning. Input data is provided to the model along with the output. Unsupervised learning. 1. Algorithms are used against data that is not labeled. 2. Computationally complex. 3. Less accurate. 4. No training data is used. 5. It is possible to learn large and more complex model with unsupervised learning. 6. We cannot test our model. 7. The goal of unsupervised learning is to find the hidden patterns and useful insight from the unknown dataset. 8. Unsupervised learning does not need any supervision to train the model. 9. In unsupervised learning, only input data is provided to the model. That's all the result of my presentation. If there are wrong words or mispronunciation, I apologize. Thank you. Good afternoon. Bye.